That's a new feature.
Yes.
Cool. I like it.
And I have to give us a little bit of a
Yes.
there we go. Okay. So that's our proper intro. Welcome to the Swanny T and Mike B Love 360
Welcome,
podcast.
everyone.
So, like I indicated before, we have been offline for a couple of months. We took a little bit of a break, just to let the audience know. Everything has been fine, but you and I have just been working a
It's been a
lot
while.
on both of our jobs. We work full time jobs, so putting these productions together, as you see, require a lot of practice, a lot of full time practice. So if you don't practice um, with your learning the different techniques and learning all the ins and outs of the technology, little mistakes like that happen. So as you can see, we're trying to get back into the swing of things. But
That's
anyway,
okay. We always recover.
we
That's
always recover.
that's
Absolutely.
yeah.
So we were actually going to do this podcast last night, and ironically, right before we were supposed to go live last night, a little situation happened, and we all know about it. No need to really talk about it, but ironically, the same thing happened October 7th. We were supposed to go live with our very first podcast on October 7th of 2023, and right before that podcast, certain situations occurred. So, strangely enough, it's just something about these podcasts and world events that kind of coincide and kind of get things all messed up. But we we wanted to stay on course. Things look to be like they are on course somewhat regarding the situations that are happening in Israel. So we decided to go live tonight. So and I'm glad we did. Thank you so
Well,
much for taking time.
thank you for still continuing to support the channel and watch us. And if you have any questions, we're more than happy to answer. Um, but what you said, those two times that we had to reschedule, they were kind of like the same nature, which was more like an emergency situation.
Right,
Of course, October 7th, with all the events that happened that day. And after that, it's been 6 months that we're
right,
into this conflict.
right.
And last night we had, from a different source, but still same, nature. It felt like, we had to be glued to our screens, and watch the news and be alert and see what happens. So definitely something that needed more attention.
It
But
was
here we
almost like
are.
a repeat. It was almost like a repeat of October 7th.
Almost. I hope
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Think
So as
things did
far as
calm down.
yeah, as far as the tension, and I know that
Yeah.
this was during the time that you sleep. I'm up, and you
Yeah.
got about 3 hours of sleep, if that. So it was a very
Correct.
difficult day for you yesterday, and again you
Yeah.
powered through it, and but we
Yeah.
were in
Still
it
had to get up
together.
in the morning and go to work. Live a normal day, and there's um, this life, still going. Can't stop
Absolutely.
everything. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Life goes on, and and we truly hope and pray, for the best outcome in any situation. But just to kind
Absolutely.
of shift gears a little bit, because I know we're kind of behind schedule, so I want to catch up a little bit. I know just this is the title of the show is highlights and updates, and I want to talk about my trip to Israel. I just got back about 2.5 weeks ago. So I want to
Yeah.
update, you on that situation, update the audience on that situation, and was had a fabulous time, and I have a little slideshow that I'm going to share with everyone, and we're going to talk about some things associated with that trip. But before we get into me, I know that you have a few things that are going on. Recently, you reached out, or a company actually reached out to you because they were interested in some of your artwork. You are an artist. You're a photographer. You've done you have an extensive catalog of your work. I've seen it. I've actually published some of your work on my channels. So I know that was a big thing for
I
you.
know.
So talk to us a little bit about what you have going on in the art world.
Um, I always have things going on. I always have photography and writing on my mind. It's always there. It will. I don't think it will ever disappear. This is something that that's just um, in my nature at that point. Um, and recently I was asked, to publish my work, which is my photography and my writings, for
Beautiful.
a kind of like a gallery book, you know, uh, kind of like those those books that you put on your coffee table,
Yes.
it's like artwork. That would have been something like this. The reason why I said, that would have been because I don't think I'm gonna go through this for just personal reasons, and maybe I'll go with self publishing. I
Okay.
will I will decide, but it's always on the table. That subject
Absolutely.
of just I just want to share, my creative side with everyone. So definitely
You know
something
that
I
you
want
have
to
my
do.
support 100%.
Well, thank
I'm
you.
always there
That's important.
to back you up and on all of your endeavors, your career
Yep.
endeavors, your artistic endeavors, your passions. So I'm always there to support you.
Thank
And if,
you.
if
Thank you.
self-publishing is in the cards for us, then we'll definitely go that route.
It's definitely something I'm thinking about. And if there's anyone who has, advice on how to do this, or that would be very, that would be welcome.
If anyone has any good advice on that,
Yeah.
drop something in the chat or reach out to us on our media channel, Swancentric Media, and give us a little bit of feedback.
Yeah.
So, with that being said,
Yeah.
um, I want to kind of jump into my trip. So,
Oh, is
before
this your third
I
trip already?
I'm sorry.
Is it your third trip already?
It's my third trip, and I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
many more. I'm looking forward to how one day in the very near future making Israel my home, and I want to say
Wow.
that proudly. So I want to talk to you about uh, this making this trip to Israel. You came in December, um, 2 months or so after the war. Things were tense during that time. Things have been less tense now, but there were some things that were very noticeable that really stood out to me while going on this last trip a couple of weeks ago. Again, it was. I think that I had a better time this time than I did the previous times. So allow me to indulge you and indulge myself by sharing some of the wonderful memories that we captured on this
Ooh,
trip. Now, a lot of
I've
the
never seen
slides
that.
are just slides, so I just pulled up randomly. So you have a ton. I have a ton, so I'm not a good slide picker, but we'll try to. I'll see if I can work through this a little bit. So allow
Yeah,
me to
I'm
share my
excited
screen with
because
you.
I didn't see it yet.
Okay, so actually, I've got videos and slides. So we're gonna. This is gonna be sort of like a timeline type of slideshow. Well, it's sort of like a timeline.
Go
So
for it. Let's see.
okay, so here we go. So let's jump right into it. If I can get this thing to work.
Yeah, well,
It says someone else is currently sharing. Oh my goodness. Who is that person? Is who is that that's currently sharing? It can't be someone else currently sharing.
um,
More technical
but
problems.
it's okay. It's okay. But but
Let's
tell
go back.
me, this time in Israel was a lot more relaxed, right? Is that how you feel?
Absolutely. It was definitely more relaxed. I actually felt more like home.
Yeah.
And when I say home, I felt like I was extremely welcome there. I felt when the plane touched down on the ground. Of course, I hate flying, period. But when that plane touches down on that ground in Tel Aviv, the plane comes in over this huge bed of clouds each and every time, and it looks like and it seems like that plane will never penetrate those clouds, and it's it's a pretty shaky ride. So once you get through those clouds and you see those beautiful lights of Tel Aviv, it's a wonderful experience. And I really felt that it was, I almost felt like I wanted to kneel down and kiss the ground this time. I really felt
And
that.
there are people who do that. There are
And there
people
are
who do
people that
that.
do that, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have no idea what is stopping my screen share.
Oh, well, that's how it is. And maybe we can do it in the next podcast. That's okay. Um, I think that, when you came the first two times, it was about, more like discovering, and going from place to place and, you know, I wouldn't say like the it was like the tourist, trip, but it was kind of, because it was your first time and you were, trying to see all these places that you heard about. And I think that this time, it was more relaxed because, well, first of all, because you've seen these places, but you were rediscovering them in a much more laid back way, like we're not in a hurry, everything is here the way it is. And you I think appreciated in a different level. is that
Absolutely,
is that is that
absolutely,
your impression?
absolutely. So this trip, this trip was actually more. I was more comfortable. Even though the last trip that I took out, I did drive a bit around, and I would have driven this last time. Like so, we won't talk about the car that we had, but I really felt more comfortable moving around
Okay.
the city this time. And I think I've shared this before, but I want to share this um, to people who have never traveled before. I want to share this. We have the United States as compared to other countries. It's more of a learned or social behavior that we have become accustomed to and adapted to, and we react and behave a certain way in this country. In other countries, it's a totally different dynamic. It is a totally different dynamic in other countries. Now, let me give an example. In other countries, I'll speak specifically for Israel. Though I did have the opportunity to visit Paris and Rome briefly, people are
Right.
more direct. People are more direct in their conversations. Where in the U.S., we are more, um, we are very, we're not as
Maybe
direct. We're not as direct over here,
maybe
and
more politically correct, like
it's more
more
politically
like.
correct, but it's also sort of there's this passive aggressive nature that we have in this country. Is very passive aggressive, and
Okay.
it stems from years and years, or maybe centuries and centuries of social uh, adapting to the social norms from many years
Mhm.
ago. And in other countries, it's totally different. So when I go to, I'll just give an example. When I go to Israel and we go to a department store or jewelry store, or or we're out and about, I'm always thinking about, well, let's not do this, let's not do this, because we don't want to be perceived this way. We don't be
You
perceived
don't want
this
to
way.
attract attention.
Right. Where in other
Yeah,
countries, in Israel, people could care less about any of that. You're really
yeah.
respected, and you're really looked at by the content of your character, and not necessarily your ethnicity or
Your
skin color,
appearance.
etc. So it's
Hmm.
a different dynamic in other countries. So I actually feel a lot comfortable over there than I do even walking down the street here. So just a different, and even in Paris, I think I shared this with you. Even in
Yeah,
Paris, people are a lot different. Just the style, the people were extremely nice in the airports, and the staff, and I mean, you really thought that just the airport itself, you thought that you would it was like a five-star hotel everywhere you went. So beautiful places. I would encourage anyone, without getting too much into all this, I encourage anyone who has the ability to travel outside the country to travel outside the country, wherever they may go. Central America, Europe, Asia, but people are different,
yeah,
and it is absolutely noticeable when you do travel to different places.
yeah. I think what you mean by that is to come out maybe of your comfort zone and discover new cultures, food, and mentality, new people, and maybe adapt to what is different.
Exactly.
And in that you discover yourself, and you discover something in yourself as well that you can receive and you can give as well, um, to the world in
Absolutely.
general. That's very general. But
Absolutely. So
yeah,
now, to get back to the, what I observed in Israel, we had the opportunity to visit Jerusalem. Was it three times or two times? It
um
was either two or three
I think we
times.
did I think we did it twice. We did
Twice
Jerusalem twice. Yeah.
on this trip, but we've been there several
Yeah.
other times.
Yeah.
I want to point out to you specifically two things. Jerusalem is a high energy city, and it is like no other city that I've ever visited in my life. It's high energy. You feel the vibe, you feel the energy when you enter the city. You feel that you are in the epicenter of the world. You feel tapped in to the entire world when you go to Jerusalem. That's how high the energy is. And we had the opportunity to visit the old city, which is near the West Wall. And just to let you know, um, there there is an impact in that area due to the war, because the old city attracts a lot of visitors and tourists,
Yes. Yeah.
and we didn't see any. We saw a handful. We'll call it a
Barely.
handful.
Barely.
We saw a handful, but
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
compared to the thousands that would
Es-
be there, so the city
Especially
was
during that
almost
period.
empty. I'm sorry.
Especially during that period, which is close to Passover. You know,
Absolutely.
and
So
and
it was so
for Christians and for Jewish people, there should be a lot. A big flow of people.
And from
Yeah.
an economic standpoint, we don't know how sustainable that is, but I can tell you that the restaurants we went to, the people that we interacted with, they were glad to see us. I was
Oh yeah.
almost treated like a rock star when I went there.
Yeah.
Rock star treatment all the way. So that was clearly noticeable that tourism is significantly down because of that. The
Yeah.
other thing is, um, we had the opportunity to visit the Holocaust Museum. Now, talk about an experience for someone who I'm very aware of the Holocaust. I'm very aware of it. My grandmother, who raised me, always talked about it, as you know. And ever since I was a kid, I've known about that sort of thing. But to actually go to Jerusalem and visit the museum, it was a very profound experience for myself. I think my biggest takeaway was going to that room. What was that room called?
The Hall of Names.
The
It's
Hall
called
of
the Hall of
Names.
Names.
Now,
Very impressive. Yeah.
We were not allowed to take any pictures, so that's why we won't show any pictures out of respect. But if you want to be really aware and really be tapped into how things were back, 70 years ago or so, go to the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem. Absolutely free. And um, the Hall of Names was this. It was this big room, and all you saw was books. It was like a huge library in a circular fashion of just names and information on the victims of the Holocaust. In this huge room that's circular, and you walk in this room, and it's the most. Um, uh, I got emotional, but you really feel in touch, really in touch with the pain and that the families had to go through to, you know, help assemble and put
Yes.
this archive together. So it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life from that perspective. But there are other things that I saw that were absolutely um, not as beautiful, and that was
Mhm.
seeing innocent lives being lost and touching. You saw that I was touching a lot of things, because things were
Yes.
out to be
Yes, you did.
touched.
I think that you got a bit. I mean, you got emotional, but where it hit you when you saw the shoes uh, that were
Th-
gathered and spread on the floor like that,
Yeah,
and you see all kind of sizes. Yeah, kids' shoes and women's shoes, and worn out. And
right.
this is really like almost like you can feel it. It's a testimony. It's
Just to give
yeah.
the audience an example of what we're talking about, there's an area that you go into, and there's a glass floor, and you can see down through the glass, and this glass floor is contains nothing but shoes. It's about shoes this high of just nothing but shoes of people that were um, terminated during that time, and these were the actual shoes,
Yes.
and so you see that, and again you see the rail cars, the actual um, uh, um, these are things that you can touch. They actually bring in a rail car, an actual train and rail car. You get to
Yes.
touch that and say, how many people lost their lives, train cart. So if you get again, it was very inspirational yet emotional
It's not
yet
easy.
it was
It's not an
really
easy
difficult.
place to go to.
It is
So
not.
I do feel that it comes with a bit of a warning uh,
Yeah.
um, for people. You can get a bit of anxiety and it's just a lot of emotions. So if it's hard for you to deal with anxiety or sadness or anything of that sort, then you should just be warned because it's a part of history, of our history, of everybody's history, because I think everybody's concerned, um, that is horrendous. So, but
Absolutely.
but I still feel that it's something that needs to be seen. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And if you go to this place, you're able to put two and two together, because if you think about what's happening now in the world, without getting into a political dialogue, if you think about what is happening now, the whole premise of defense, the whole premise of fighting is to prevent such atrocities from ever happening again. And when you go there, you're able to put the puzzle together. And for me, I was able to say, now I know why things are happening the way they're happening. Now I know. I was able to
And
put the puzzle together.
yeah, I think it shows, what um, people are always going to protect, whatever is cherished, whatever they cherish. And if it's the land, if it's your children, if it's your family, if it's your values, anything that is dear to you, you're going to protect.
Absolutely.
And you have that instinct, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
we see from that period of time, the Holocaust, that we kind of like lost our rights and our spirit, and we just walked, unfortunately, to our death. But the lesson that we learn from that is never again, right? There's
Right.
this motto that we have is never again. And I think
Right.
that the people of the land really are showed it and are still showing it that this will not
Right.
never happen again.
Correct.
And
Correct.
that shows why we are so adamant into what how the conflict is going right now, and to stand on our own, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of things that are coming up for this year. We hope that things really get back on track because you and I have a lot more traveling to do. And
Yes,
again,
we do.
I don't. We're a little bit over time, and I'm a little bit frustrated as to what happened with the technology. But if my sister is online, shout out to my sister, and
Hey,
thank you for tapping in. And trust me, we do a lot better than this. Okay, so
okay.
you can
It's
go through
okay.
our catalog and see some of our other content, but
We'll
this
save it for
technical
next
issue
time.
was my fault. I'm
We'll
sorry.
save it for next time.
We'll save it for
Before.
next time, and we'll make it a point to put a show together within the next few days so that you can see some actual images. This really frustrates me, and after this show is over, I need to figure out what happened. But again,
All
I
right.
want to thank our online audience. Um, I'm gonna edit this video out and keep it posted on our channel so it'll look nice and kind of halfway decent to go out. But thank you everyone
Yes,
for
thank
checking
you. We'll
in.
be back soon.
And we'll see our audience. We'll see our our uh, whoever wants to more information on what's happening in Israel. You can tap in with us. We can give you information, and
For sure.
we're always there to help. So, with that being
Absolutely.
said, have a great evening, and we look forward to linking up with our audience very soon. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
See you soon. Okay.
Bye.